The Astros get their road campaign off to a solid start, taking 2 out of 3 from the Minnesota Twins. At first, this honestly looked like a series loss, given how the series finale was looking to be after the first 4 innings, but it ended up being a win, so we're going to talk all about it. Good series in Minnesota has the Astros road record off to a decent start. Obviously, I mean, our performance overall certainly reflected that of how well we played on the road last year. Certainly not that much at home, I guess, but let's talk about the series. First things first, let's dive into a couple of overdue injury updates. I had forgotten to mention these in previous videos. Starting with Luis Garcia, this one unfortunately is coming in the form of some bad news from him. He had some soreness in his elbow, which he had gotten surgery on a couple of years ago. An MRI had revealed some inflammation on it, so he will be shut down for a couple of days. We'll see if and when he ends up getting back to throwing again. So my hope is that he'll get back to throwing this month, but so far I'm not 100% sure on that, so we'll see. The second guy that we'll talk about will be Lance McCullers, I'm hoping he returns to the rotation this month, if not next. So we'll see how he goes. He has done so far 2 rehab starts, one for AAA Sugar Land and another for AA Corpus Christi. And based on the looks of it, they both had done great, but even though those rehab starts were roughly about 2 weeks ago when the season started, I have not received any, or I've not seen any new information on him since that point, so hopefully we'll see those guys back soon. And Christian Javier, we also don't have any injury updates on him. Obviously, his return is still slated to be sometime later towards the end of the season, maybe in August. I sure hope he pitches this year, but we've seen how rehab assignments have been with our pitchers undergoing Tommy John surgery in more recent seasons, so I'm not going to count on him pitching this year, just given how most of those rehab assignments have gone. But like I said, we'll wait and see. So starting in this first game, the crowd in this game, by the way, was actually really small. Part of that was because of the Twins ownership not having done anything this past offseason after the Twins had gone into a downward spiral after seemingly had a playoff spot locked in at the beginning of September. But despite that, they didn't make the playoffs. And so obviously fans were expressing their displeasure by not showing up, I guess, but sucks to be them, I suppose. But the Astros got things started early. Despite them being down 2-0 after the bottom of the first inning, they responded right away with a pair of home runs back-to-back by Christian Walker, and his first, and Jeremy Pena, I believe also his second. So that was, of course, very good to see. Christian Walker, especially considering the threat that he is supposed to be at the plate alongside Yordan Alvarez. That 2-0 tie, the Astros eventually took the lead a couple innings later and ended up going on to win this game 5-2. Hunter Brown in this game also pitched exceedingly well. Despite him struggling for in the first 2 innings or so, he ended up finishing strong, retiring 10 straight hitters and finishing with quite a few strikeouts. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but he did finish strong over the course of this game, though the same certainly could not be said for Spencer Arrighetti in Game 2 of this series. Despite him pitching it reasonably well, the Astros got things started in this game with a Jose Altuve leadoff home run after he had a 5 strikeout performance for the first time in his career in the previous game on Thursday. That was obviously a good thing to see, but that would end up being the only run that would be scored for the Astros throughout the entire game, as a decisive 4th inning for the Twins, scoring 5 runs off of Arrighetti, the big one being a 3-run blast, and then also of course the bats being decisively quiet for pretty much the entire game would make for a perfect recipe for an Astros loss, and that's exactly what happened. But going into Game 3, this one was obviously the best of the bunch. Less than 24 hours after the U of H men's basketball team pulled off a 9-0 run in the last 35 seconds of their Final Four matchup against Duke, the Astros pulled off a shocking comeback of their own, scoring 8 unanswered runs to erase a 7-1 deficit which they had faced after 4 innings. They scored 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and then 2 more in the 9th to eventually send the game to extra innings, where they then won it. So the big blow, of course, came from Yordan Alvarez in the 9th inning, batting a 2-run home run off of Griffin Jax to tie the game at 7. Christian Walker would then double to put himself as the go-ahead run in scoring position with no outs, but unfortunately the Astros could not capitalize on it. And then Josh Hader would keep the game right where it was, to sending it to Manfred innings, and then to start things off, Jose Altuve would single home Manfred runner Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers also had a fantastic series, mainly in the first game, having 3 hits and 3 ribbies. Jake Myers would then steal home on the back end of a double steal to cap off the comeback. So a huge insurance run, which thankfully was not needed for the Astros, as Josh Hader would pitch another shutout inning in the bottom of the 10th to pick up the win. Like I said, very good series. It could have very well have been a series loss had it not been for the comeback win in the series finale. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hopefully the Astros can carry this momentum into Seattle, where they will be facing the Seattle Mariners. I mean, this is honestly going to be a very big series. I'm honestly suspecting us. I'm not really expecting us to win the series. I'm kind of predicting that we might lose 2 out of 3. I mean, a sweep would also not shock me at all because, like I said, our offense as a whole has just been pretty bad. Granted, it was great for the 2 games that we had won in this series. But like if it ends up being exactly the same as it was in Saturday's game, where we only scored 1 run and just failed to capitalize on scoring opportunities, then this series could very well end up being a sweep if we can't get to Seattle's pitching early. Seattle's pitching staff is arguably one of the best in the division, so I'm a little bit terrified of it. But, like I said, the offense needs to get better, and we can't have performances like we did on Saturday. So, all right. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please, if you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you want to watch any of my other videos, then click these cards here above my shoulders. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one.